I'm
to
really
design.
sorry. I don't know if you noticed, like, there's like a cloud or something falling over your camera. I don't know if that's something that's physically okay. I was
I
like,
have
what
to.
is going on? What's good? It's me, your guy, all the way from Bed-Stuy, Habo, and this is the Art Block, a web show, talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, about the contemporary art world and all the cool and controversial things around, while I discuss these things, these topics with really amazing friends like Morgan Basant, who is our special guest today. Morgan, how are you? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I've been on, but just been busy with a lot of things. But I've been good. Just trying to put a little bit more of my work out there. So trying to focus on that.
Yeah, you've been busy actually. I remember not too long ago you were part of a really amazing contest with Black Girl Vitamins. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I want to say a few months back, they had an open application for Black Girl Vitamins where some different artists would be able to be a part of their campaign for Black History Month. So they asked a couple of us
I'm
to
really
design.
sorry. I don't know if you noticed, like, there's like a cloud or something falling over your camera. I don't know if that's something that's physically okay. I was
I
like,
have
what
to.
is going on?
Okay, hold on.
I thought
I'll
I
have
thought
to.
Discord was about to start raining.
Jeez. A few months back, Black Girl Vitamins, they had an open application for artists to be able to potentially be a part of this branding campaign that they wanted to do for Black History Month. So everyone who was accepted, they were able to design whatever they felt worked for the label or whatever piece of media that they were asked to create for. And from there, they had some additional things. So they had a contest. And so they said whoever, whatever, three people won the contest, they would be able to receive an all expense paid trip to Chicago to be able to be a part of their gallery party. And I thought that that was a really cool thing that they were that that they did for us, because not only did they compensate us for the work that we did on the project, but then they had that potential for something else like a bonus, and to also be able to be a kind of like a part of what they were doing a little bit more. So I thought that that was really nice. And while I personally did not get chosen to be one of the finalists for the contest, it was still really cool that they were able to put that out to us. And I'm really happy for the people that did get that opportunity.
Yeah, I thought that was really amazing because I know my mom uses Black Girl Vitamins and I've seen them around in different spaces. So it was really dope to just see you in general have your work on something that is such a growing and popular business. And I wanna ask you if you can speak to the experience of getting that put together and how you felt when you were designing, and um if you feel like this was something that definitely changed the way you perceive certain things when working with certain organizations or how you put yourself out there.
Well, it definitely it showed me that there are other ways that you can become part of campaigns. You can actually put yourself out there by, emailing, or there are opportunities where you can actually apply to certain freelance opportunities, which I didn't even know that that was a thing that companies did. I always just figured you just kind of had to wait around and see if somebody was going to email you. But it kind of showed me that there are ways that you can be more proactive, and that sometimes these companies, they will make opportunities for you and give you the opportunity to sort of uh, go for it and sort of ask for it on your own, which I thought that was it was nice that they actually put it out there and they gave multiple people a chance. I don't see that too often when I work with other companies. Um, Usually it's just sort of a, we only picked you and this is the only person that can be a part of this campaign, but they chose 18 different people to be a part of this.
Mm.
And I thought that that was a great way to be able to get more people in the community involved. And not only that, it poured into Black artists, it gave us something that we could put out there. And especially for like younger artists who might just be getting started, that's something great to put in your portfolio to say that you worked with this major brand and you've created something that's being seen by like millions of people. And I think that that's just, it was just such a great way to kind of go about it. And I honestly hope that I can get another opportunity to work with them again.
Yeah, I think you spoke on something that really resonates where one, you mentioned that while you didn't win or you didn't get to the final part, you still had this amazing experience where you got to be a part of this massive campaign. Can you, I guess, give a little advice to younger artists or emerging artists that may feel like if they didn't win, it's like a total failure? How can you circumvent those feelings and actually utilize that to empower yourself for future endeavors?
Well, I think just kind of considering the fact that you are already sort of a part of something like this. Like you already have given yourself a chance to get some visibility. I think that that's still something that is worth you celebrating because even if you didn't win the contest and you got to be a part of it to a degree, I think that that's still a win. You still were able to show your work. You were still able to be a part of something bigger and you were still able to put your work out there and show other people what you can do. And even if you want to go deeper than that and say, well, I didn't make the application process, you're still putting yourself out there. So maybe this go around, you didn't make it, but you've already given them your information. You showed them your portfolio. So they might come back and be like, well, we might not have used them this time, but we have another campaign coming up in June. So maybe we can hit them back up. So it's always still important to put yourself out there to just at least try to get opportunities because you never know what could happen. You never know who's watching you, and you never know what can come up in the future.
Absolutely. I full heartedly agree with that. And I think when we're in spaces like this, it does give us opportunity for future networking. We don't know, like you said, if they might save you for later or if they might recommend you to someone else or if your work is even seen by folks who can lead you to bigger and better opportunities down the road because everybody's watching. You never know. Social media is such a vast and crazy place, and you never know who's looking and who's watching, who's liking and who's lurking. I mean, even with me, when I've posted on threads, I've had some of the most like random people pop up, like Spike Lee, Kyrie Irving, Numa Perrier, Francesca Ramsey, and I think we're in a space where the hyperconnectivity can be a benefit. Obviously there are some negatives to being on social media all the time and having that always on sort of vibe, but I think having that ease of access to people in that certain regard can be very helpful. Also, right now I don't know what happened, but I think my thing just froze up. I can't draw no more.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can do everything else. I can click around, but I can't draw anymore. Hold on, let me see.
Wait, why?
I can't even zoom out.
Users off board.
I don't even know what's happening. It's all on you now.
Oh, it says you're off the board. How do you get back on the board?
I don't know. Let me see what's going on real quick. Let me just switch back to this and I might have to close. You might have to invite me back to it or I might have to come back to it myself.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, it just froze up on me. But anyway, are you excited about all the amazing cartoons and shows that are coming out? I mean, man, despite obviously the horrible things that are going on in our world right now, despite the things that are happening in our country, I do believe that art is kind of at the precipice of some form of change, and I do believe that a lot of what we see in the media we consume can empower and activate a lot of people, like the boys. A lot of folks, they complain about the boys being too woke and this, that, and the third. I'm just like, nah, they right on target. Did you see the trailer?
I did, and I'm so excited for it. I wish it was coming out sooner, honestly.
It's right around the corner, so we don't got too long to wait. I'm excited because I think I'm back now. I'm excited because I saw some. So if you're a Supernatural fan, anybody that's watching that's a Supernatural fan, you know that Eric Kripke was the original producer, writer, and showrunner of Supernatural, which starred Misha Collins, Jared Padalecki, and Jensen Ackles, who are now on The Boys, which is really great. So it's kind of like a reunion and a treat to see so many Supernatural actors, because it's not just them. Because even in Gen V, one of the characters there was also from Supernatural as well. So it's really cool to see that. But my favorite part of this whole thing is just how they're kind of like hitting certain subject matter on the nose. Like it felt when I was watching, I was like, oh, Eric was watching the news. Like he he saw what was going on with ICE. You know what I'm saying? He saw what was going on with Trump. He's very observant. It's a heavily political show, and I feel like we can't really pull politics out of things like this. You know, I feel like politics and art go hand in hand. How do you feel about shows like The Boys or shows like Gen V that are very current and in the moment versus others where it might have a little bit of sugarcoating in their storytelling, like maybe Game of Thrones?
I think that shows like that are important to have because you need someone that's kind of using the mediums that they can kind of utilize to push a lot of messages because oftentimes they get missed. And I think that things like this can help people to sort of either digest it or it could bring it to their attention. Um, I think that what you said is art is has always been political. It always has been used to share a message. It always has been used to share viewpoints. So I don't think that this is necessarily any different. A lot of people, like you said, they keep saying it's too woke and it's too on the nose, but it's no, this is what's happening now and people need to be aware of what's going on. And I think that that's something that is always going to be important and that's something that artists, if they have the capacity to be able to share more of their views and share things that are going on in the world, I think that they should. I think that if you have the capacity to do it, then I feel that it's almost a responsibility to do it.
And what do you mean by have the capacity? Do you mean if they are in a safe environment to do so, or if it's something to do with how they're feeling in the moment? If they, let's say, are you are excuse me, are you in line with like saying that people who have a large audience they have to be cautious about how they approach certain things, or where you kind of leaning in that perspective?
I think that that is another thing to consider, that you do have to consider the audience and where you are and make sure that you're safe. But I also mean that I don't think that everyone really has the best understanding of what's going on in the world around them. And I don't think that it's wise to speak on something that you can't properly articulate. So if you have issues sort of digesting what's going on in like political spaces or just, things that are going on that are happening in your area, just anything, then I don't necessarily think that you're really in the best place to be able to talk about that because then you could end up doing something very dangerous, especially if you do have a large audience. If you end up saying the wrong thing and you misinform somebody, then it becomes a bigger problem.
No, you're absolutely right. And I completely agree with that. I believe, and I feel that if you're going to talk on an issue, you need to have not only the knowledge, but acumen of how to speak on that particular issue. And there are a lot of creators out here, artists and content creators, who dive in headfirst on something, all going off of emotion, which is completely natural, as human. But I feel like there's not a lot of leeway between the thought and the actual video, or the thought and the actual piece that comes out. And I feel like a lot of times we kind of miss the mark and miss the forest for the trees when it's time to have important conversations surrounding any social issues. Like with AI, I think there are a lot of people right now who, and I feel like this is a conversation that just keeps going and going and going like a Duracell battery. But I feel like there are a lot of people right now that are still ill-informed and uninformed on what AI is as an umbrella term, and then the more intricate spaces like generative AI. So I think I no, I don't think I know. I agree full-heartedly with you on that. And when it comes to your own practice and your own creativity, where do you see yourself in regards to spreading positive messages, and how do you see yourself creating in that kind of space?
Well, from what I do now, I generally try to I sort of lean towards more encouragement. So sometimes I try to make myself aware of, I guess, how people could be feeling, how people might be dealing with certain issues. And while I don't necessarily push too many like overtly political things, I try to ensure that people, um, I guess, have a sort of more optimistic perspective on themselves and their environment. I always short side. Ugh, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm messing up
Lost
too. It's all
my.
good. Hey, we all doing it. It's Friday. Our brains are falling apart.
Oh boy,
It's been a
my
long
brain
week.
farted.
Oh my god, it farted. It sounds like that sounds like the Boston accent when it'd be like the potted, which I've
And
never seen that movie. But no, I think that's really good though, because everybody has their lane, right? Not everyone's supposed to be the Huey P. Newton of comics. You get what I'm saying? Or Huey P. Newton, or the Frank Hampton of illustration and animation. I think there is a place for everyone. So you have people like, you'll have somebody that is very in your face, right? Highly political in their cartooning. A lot of political cartoonists are in that same lane versus those who are just there to inform, right? You have artists like Miss Rachel, for instance. I feel like she's a performing artist and actress who is able to say things and do things through her work, with helping children and to encourage young people and teach and learn and also share such positivity. Same thing with Michael from PBS, who started out on TikTok. Everybody has their lane. I don't expect Michael to shave his head, wear a beret, and start being like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? But I do respect and admire that he found a way to talk about things in his own language. And I think that's the most important part, because I feel like silence, period, is just what's the word? Silence is complicit. You're being complicit when you're silent. I think that's what people say. And I think right now is the most important time. And there's always been important times, but I feel like now is the most important time to kind of show folks where you stand and what you stand for. And why is this app is so funky sometimes? It just like switched my color without me even telling it to do that. But yeah, I think this is the time to really just pick a lane and draw a line in the sand, because I don't want to be in a space where like I'm making a video or I'm making art and comics and I got like Trump supporters in my audience, and then you know what I'm saying, they're like, Habbo, well, you know, nah, get out of here.
yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. What are you drawing over here? Because I saw it a few times. Is that you just sitting next to? Oh my god, I cannot believe it, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm always impressed by the way you draw yourself. You're incredibly talented at that. There's only
Oh,
so
thank
few
you so
people.
much.
No, for real. Excuse me. There are so few people that I've seen that can do it so well, and you're one of the few. I don't know how you
Oh,
mastered that. I don't know how long it took you to master that. When was the first time you drew yourself?
um, probably some point in middle school when we were taking art classes and they had that mandatory, you got to do a self portrait thing.
Oh, I don't think I had that class. My art class was weird. He just kind of let us do whatever. Like my first real art class was like high school. Like I've had art classes
Oh,
before. No. So the way I see it is like there's two types of art class. There's art class where it's just like whatever, and then there's art class where you actually learn structure and you might learn some art history and things like that. So when I was growing up, it was just like we're just kind of drawing and doodling. And then when I got to high school, I had something where he was trying to teach us things here and there. But at one point, I think he just gave up because he realized that we wasn't giving we ain't really care about any of that at the moment. But it was still good because he still encouraged us in our own way, and how we created and what we created. And then in college, that was when the real structure came in. But I still even then didn't have like a self portrait class, and I'm terrible at it. I don't know how to draw myself because every time I try to do it, people be like, "Oh, that don't look like you." But when I draw another character, they be like, "That character looks like you." I'm like, "What?" So I'm like, "All right, all right." But yeah, I think where I'm at right now is just I want to make sure that I'm putting out the right messages. I'm saying, I'm speaking my mind, and I'm letting people know where I stand in regards to certain political affiliations. When it comes to human rights, when it comes to civil rights, when it comes to all types of rights out there. Because some people out here just charlatans, man. You know, they out here, faking it till they make it, and then when it's time to do something, they disappear because they got that money. There, they made their coins.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but to switch gears and not be so dark and dour. I've been watching. Well, this is still kind of dark. I've been watching Primal, the new season again. I don't know if you watched any of Primal at all? I don't remember if we talked about it.
We had talked about it briefly, and you kind of like warned me that it gets a little crazy. I still want to check it out. I've seen clips of it around. It looks interesting. It looks a little dark at times, but you know, I already watched The Boys and Invincible, so it's not like I'm a
That's
stranger to
true. That is true. I never
that.
realized that. Like you watch some of the nastiest shows out there. Primal shouldn't be anything different. You're right. You're right. My bad. But yeah, no. What I really enjoy about it is the fact that it's a like there's no dialogue. So I call it a silent cartoon. There's grunting and screaming and whatnot and sound effects, but the characters don't actually speak to each other. It's just like they go from moment to moment and express themselves through action. And I feel like that's something that I have never seen before outside of like the early cartoons from the 1920s when it was just like everybody's rubber hose animation. They're bouncing up and down like, hey, pal, how you doing? Stuff like that. So I always try to bring it up with anybody I talk to or anywhere I'm at where there's fans of animation because it's one of the best cartoons I've seen. So if you haven't been checking that out, what have you been watching, or what's the last thing you remember seeing that really kind of wowed you, besides common side effects?
You know what? I've really been liking IYANU.
Right.
So that new movie that I know that kind of dropped like a while ago, but I hadn't gotten a chance to check it out until recently. And I really enjoyed the show already, but I really liked the movie. Like I like the origin stories. I like how they told you how they got to where they are now, like kind of all the background and the drama of it all. And I was like really invested because I was like, okay, I need a little bit more of this. So I'm really excited to see whatever is gonna come up next with that series.
Yeah, no, Ianu is great. What were some of your favorite moments from the show or the movie itself? Because I feel like there's such a great depth of culture in that show.
Honestly, I think the movie probably how they touched on Ianu's family and like her origins and like how things were before she was born. I think that was probably the most interesting thing to me, like how everything was so much different. Like the environment was just it was like people working together with the gods, and they had given them these divine abilities, and they were all working together to keep the world safe. And I just thought that was like a really cool dynamic, and I kind of just really enjoyed that, seeing how they all kind of had this like camaraderie and like this buddy buddy thing going on. So I thought it was it was interesting, but it was also kind of cute. So I think that was probably like my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, I feel like, and I love the show. I think it's a great show for families, a family friendly show. So if you haven't watched it yet, you can watch it with your kids, talking to the audience. But I feel like it would have been cooler if they started off with the movie first and then led into the show itself, because like you said, there was so much rich backstory to a lot of the lore that we were very confused or curious about during that first initial season. And I think it gave us a better understanding of just the world itself and a better understanding of each character's motivations, right? Because the show starts off with like, it's IYANU, and then it's like, oh yeah, you have to save the world. And, you know, it's the corruption. It's the corruption, oh. It's the corruption, oh. We have to stop it. Wanda, you know, and it's great. It's fun. It's silly. You know, it has some really great moments, but I feel like there's that gap that was filled in by the movie made it so much better. I feel like if it didn't have the movie, if they didn't do that film, it probably wouldn't have been as cohesive or you know, structured to me in that way. But I do appreciate it because it comes from a Nigerian person. It comes from someone who is deeply rooted in his culture, and it wants to express that and showcase that in a way that is not digestible to the broader world, but in its full unapologetic self, right? The entire world is African, right? Like the entire world is that, ain't nobody else. And I've never seen anything like that before. I've never seen anything like that before. So I think that's amazing that he was able to pull that off and it works so well. And that we have so many elements of African culture, diasporic African culture, and mythology woven throughout, because it feels like when I watch it, it feels like I'm watching those classic African tales that they used to show us when we were growing up in elementary school.
Oh yeah, those are always my favorite. Uh, we used to like learn so much about Anansi growing up, and so it was nice to be able to have that in the forefront for once. And like you were saying, like how everybody is African, like the whole world that they know of is called Yoruba land. I thought that was really cool because usually you see any kind of apocalyptic thing and it's just, yeah, it's just white Americans around and nobody else. Everybody else is gone. So it was nice to be able to kind of see the script flipped and then be able to see a lot of the actual cultural notes and a lot of the things that you see in West African culture be represented on a larger scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been trying to. It's so funny because I have two Nigerian friends. One is Igbo and the other is Yoruba, and I've been trying to get them to both like check it out, and they've just been dragging their feet. Cause I'm like, I want to know what you think. Y'all niggas is from there. I want to know what you think about the accents, about the lore, all of that, because it's different for us to watch it, right? But for
Mhm.
people that are from the motherland, from the mother continent, I think they would have a deeper appreciation. Just like when we watch things and we have a different experience when watching, like when Kendrick performed at the Super Bowl, right? That was a different experience that we felt versus everybody else because we have an intrinsic value and connection to whatever is being said. So I find that I've always found that to be fascinating, right? Because I can appreciate other cultures, but I always love seeing what other people feel when they see their own aesthetics and traditions put into popular media, you know. Um, and I feel like we're kind of like in this renaissance. We're not kind of, we are in this renaissance of black art, and we're seeing more African work being put out. Because there was the other show, it was on Disney, and I haven't seen it yet, Kizazi Moto, and that was supposed to be like an anthology series that was based on African lore as well. And there was also another one called Kawami. I think it was called Kawami, with the little girl. Have you seen that one? It's like a little girl with a lizard
Um,
that turns into a dragon, I think.
no,
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, that's also on Disney Plus. So I'm enjoying everything that's coming out and what we're seeing. And with like coming off the tail end of award season and seeing Sinners win big and get so much acknowledgement, it's just a great time to be a black artist. And you know, the only side of that is like you have people who just straight up be hating or doing things that are kind of trying to bring us down in moments of pure joy. Because I'm sure you saw the whole thing with the BAFTAs, and you saw like the controversy that flowed with that, or even Dochi coming on social media and talking about cats, and now they want to drag her because she says she don't like cats, and it's like y'all just want to find any little thing to just drag black people, specifically black women, at any point in time. Like, I don't know. How do you feel about people who put all their onus and their feelings into one particular subject, and that becomes their personality? Because like, if I said something about cats and you over here talking about like I'm a terrible person, like, I don't know, you might have to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I think those people need to touch grass. I, I mean, I get, liking something or being passionate about something, but it's like that's a little extreme, especially if you're going to attack people because they don't like that same something. It's just, please just get over yourself. It's not that big of a deal. And I honestly, I don't even know if people even are really putting that much of their personality into it. I think it's what you said. People are just looking for any reason to nitpick at black people and act like whatever we say is just awful. Because, I mean, I can imagine if it was, somebody a little less melanated saying something like that, it might not be that much of a blow up.
It probably wouldn't be. I'm pretty sure if like I'm trying to think of who's a hot actor out right now, like who I can't even think of nobody. Only person I thought of for some reason is this person not even an actor, Billie Eilish. But like who's like a hot, like in the moment white actor or actress? I can't even think of nobody. I don't be following them like that. I know Timothy Chalamet is on a victory lap with his blue movie. But if he said something, people. I mean, he was cosplaying as black, and nobody said something. Nobody said nothing to him. So it's whatever. We already know how that goes. We already know how that goes. Marty
Mhm.
Supreme. It was a ping. It was. I think that was about a ping pong champion or something like that. I don't know, but I know that they spent a lot of money on that shit.
You know better than me because this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, nah, it was like some big movie that was supposed to be like the next, blockbuster hit or whatever. They put like so much money into it. They had all kinds of campaigns like to virally market it, and then it just didn't really go where they wanted it to. And I can't imagine spending so much money and then like losing it all. But I guess for rich people it doesn't matter because that's like a everyday occurrence for them, maybe. But I'd be
It's just a
devastated.
drop in a bucket.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a drop in a bucket. I'd be devastated. I'd be absolutely devastated. Um, but yeah, I think where we're at now is pretty solid, and I feel that we're only going to go up from here because I see it across so many different parts of the industry. So even in video games, we have work like Reloaded, which had its own controversy, and I'm just really really frustrated at the fact that it wasn't promoted or marketed well enough for more people to latch on to it, and that there aren't that many people on Twitch or YouTube playing it besides me and maybe like one other person. And I feel like that game is such a like IYANU before it and other African focused works. I feel like this is an incredibly important piece of art, not just a video game, but it's a history lesson on what has been pilfered and pillaged from Africa, from all over the continent. And it's a tough game to listen to and a tough game to play because of the context that's being presented before us, right? We're going into these museums and we're stealing the artifacts, but then we learn the history of these things, like how I think what was the one person I was playing the other day? His name was Hans something, and that man owns like a whole bunch of slaves or something. Like he started like a whole new like sector of slave. Like it was like what over some artifacts that he stole. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. And I know for you, it's been
Yes.
like really interesting because I've seen you react in the chat. And you're like, oh wow, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning some new things watching you play it, so it's definitely an experience, and it's definitely something that should be on a lot more people's radar, just because of the things that you're saying. Like we need a little bit more, we need a lot of bit more African centric media, and we also need things that are more educational, especially when there's like such a pushback on showing history and showing like how who we are and how we came to be where we are today. It's important to know the roots. And if you're dealing with you know a lot of powers that be trying to censor a lot of that information and to push back on that, then I think it's very needful to have something out there to show people like this is what happened, this is how it went down. And then on top of that, you're seeing like the beauty of different cultures, which is always good to see. So I think that that's really important. And I wish more people played it and wouldn't be just kind of review bombing and acting like it's so terrible, even though they haven't played it.
That's just what white people and raccoons do. They just can't stand because the game. It's not like they were like, "Oh, let's go in here and beat up white people." They just said, "Let's take back artifacts that were stolen from Africa." It wasn't let's go terrorize white people. It was saying let's take back what was rightfully ours. And then it turns to this whole thing of it being woke. And it's like, you probably don't even know how to spell a single country in Africa, let alone even know what it looks like. Yet you're review bombing and you're saying all these like horrible and derogatory things. You probably never even seen an African before. You know what I'm saying? And that's the crazy part too, because like I live in New York and I'm sure there are Africans in New Orleans, but like think about other parts of the country, like Colorado, like somebody in Wisconsin, like they've probably never even seen another black person, let alone an African, or experienced any form of culture outside of just like let's drive around and shoot things. Not saying that all white people shoot stuff, but like that's typically what they do. And they get in that pickup truck, yeah, boy, woo, get her done. They get that in them and they start going crazy. Um so yeah, I think another important part to this equation too is like destroying the diaspora wars, right? I feel like I think a white person started that, honestly. Well, no. I didn't
Right.
even think I know a white person started that because that's been instilled in us since slavery. And I feel like we're at this point where every few months something will come up and now you got people going back and forth, well, Americans this and Africans that and Akata this and go back to your country that. And it's like, why, bro? It don't matter. As soon as they see you out in the street and you have this complexion or darker or even a little lighter like yours, they don't care. They don't care. And I'm just like, let's just break bread. Let me get some fufu. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some jollof. Jollof and collard greens. Come on. That's a perfect combination.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. And I still ain't had no jollof yet. No good jollof. I only had it one time. And
Ooh.
I'm still waiting on the African homies to put me on. And I'm calling you out. Cause we supposed to go get jollof and all of y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't trying to help your boy out.
Oh no.
Yeah. But nah, I think through art, I think that's how we can start blending things together. That's why we have things like IYANU. That's why we have Kirikou, which is the movie we watched a while back in Discord. That's why we have things like Kizazi Moto and amazing animations that are coming out of the country that are blending cultures together or showcasing their own identity as well. And once we get to a point where we fully understand each other, that's when I feel like we'll have true black solidarity across the board so that we can strengthen our communities against a lot of the oppressive shit that we have to deal with on a daily, whether it's in this country or abroad, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah. And it really doesn't have to be as divided as it is. And I just I do really hope that we can get to a point where we can all kind of see ourselves as one, because essentially we are, you know. Not to say like I want to, like, in a way to culturally flatten us, but we are all black. We are all quote unquote the same. So I think that it is something that I really want to see us push past, especially considering when I get like deeper into learning about my own culture, it makes me even feel more connected with the people in the diaspora. So I kind of don't understand why people get so hung up on it, and I just kind of wish everybody could see it that way, that we should be more unified.
I'm glad you said that because now I'm gonna get on you because you are the sole
Hey,
representative of Louisiana. And
I'm
I
not
have
the
yet to and
soul.
I've yet to see any artwork or comics to come from you that teaches us what's going on down there. And I'm like, dang, I want to be educated. Why Morgan not dropping that good stuff? You know what I'm saying? Where the comics about the origins of beignets or what be going on in the bayou? You know what about Gambit? What about the Gambits?
No, no,
What
no, no, not not
what
no gambit.
what about Ham Hocks now? But do you see yourself at any point in the near future, or even maybe a year from now, where you can settle into a space where you're creating stories and characters that are based in your local culture, so that you can spread the correct information out to the world?
I'm currently working on it, so it's gonna happen. I just
Ooh,
kind of
what you
it just takes a little time.
what you working on? Can you tell us a little bit? Can we get a art block exclusive? Can you get a little dab exclusive?
Well, I'm trying to sort of push more currently to show a little bit more of my city. I'm from New Orleans. Culturally, it is a little different from other places in Louisiana, although we do share the core culture of Louisiana Creole culture. But because I'm from New Orleans, I want to show what things are more like here because I have closer experience. So I want to start showing things about the foods that we eat here, practices that used to happen, but we don't really see much of anymore. I want to show more of the architecture because I feel like in the United States, it is very unique. Um, and I want to show a little bit more of like the food ways and just what life is like growing up here and living here, and a lot of the customs that people don't really see. So that's my current focus right now. I hope to expand to other areas. So, throughout Louisiana, there's like variations of the culture, but also you can see that across like the Gulf Coast of Mississippi and Alabama. And I also kind of want to get with some people who are still kind of within the culture, but like live in those areas to expound on that so we can share more of that as well. Because a lot of people don't even know that a lot of that area used to be a part of Louisiana as well before the Louisiana Purchase. And I think that that's important for people to know.
Yeah, because the only thing I know about New Orleans is
Oh my God.
you can go down to the French Quarter and pay somebody to follow you around and play music and eat beignets and throw beads at one another for fun. That's all I know.
Throw bees at one another.
Y'all just be flinging
That's what we doing, huh?
Yeah, y'all just be flinging beads. No, I think that's really important and really great that you are in the planning stages of that and looking to connect with other artists, because I'm sure there are other artists out there that are trying to do the same and probably want to connect the same way you want to. Do you go out and draw? Like, do you go out to the cafe and eat your little drink your little coffee and have your little sketchbook and start drawing the buildings there? Sorry, I just slip in. Sometimes with you, I just slip into it. I don't know what
You
happens.
just be doing it on purpose.
No, it just happens sometimes. I don't know.
Um, oh my God. But to answer the question, I don't draw while I go out there. I don't go to the French Quarter too often, but I recently took a trip out there just because I figured I might need a little bit more inspiration. And since I don't see those buildings every day, I wanted to get a couple of pictures so I could have those as references for when I do draw things. So I actually did go out recently. Ate some beignets,
Aha.
took some pictures.
Aha.
Took a couple of little pictures, some things that I feel that stand out, and I just sort of got to work on that. And so I'm starting a new piece that I want to put out soon. Um, that I feel kind of shows a little bit more of the culture of New Orleans, and it kind of blends a little bit of the history of it and a little bit of the present day. So I thought that that was something that was really important to do.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. See, we getting all the information. We got two projects in the work right here announced on the art block, y'all. So is the French Quarter like y'all version of Times Square, like where people that are from there don't really go there?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
Okay. Now it makes sense because when I said it, I could feel the energy. It's like, why this nigga talking about the French Quarter? I don't go to no French Quarter. I don't care about no damn French Quarter.
Well, I mean, it's nice. There's history to it, but it's also it could be crowded and it could be a little yucky sometimes because
Well, I can imagine there's a lot of
mm.
people walking around, trash, all that stuff. Hey, didn't y'all have that one thing? Was that New Orleans where the mayor was like he was going to spray the town with like pine sol or lemon scents or something like that? Was that y'all?
um, I mean, we're kind of doing that already, so
Yeah,
maybe
so that was
maybe
y'all.
somebody was saying,
Well, so what? You just the trucks just go around spraying lemon and it just smell like pine sol all day or lemon fresh.
yeah, it's like some lemon scented cleanser because people kind of go out there and use the streets as a personal toilet, and so you kind of got to get rid of that. So they have like the sanitation trucks. They'll come through and they'll kind of clean up and spray
That's
everything.
not overwhelming. It don't hurt y'all your noses. I feel like smelling that all the time got to be irritating.
I mean, I don't be out there, but
You're right. You just said that.
uh,
Yeah.
but the residents, the people that live out there, they said they prefer it to the vomit and the toilet smells.
That's
So
crazy because when I think of New Orleans, I feel like it just smells like fresh dough and powder. It smells like spices and seasonings all over the place, not garbage. And that's unfortunate because it's such a culturally rich city that has been the eye of our country for so long, right? That's the place, that's the party city, that's the place for music. So many great and amazing artists have come out from there, whether they are visual artists, whether they're sculptors, whether they're musicians, even actors as well. You got your boy uh Anthony Mackie, you know what I'm saying, on Marvel and stuff, Captain Creole. So it's just I hate that we because I haven't been to that many other countries, but when I did go to like Guadeloupe and I went to Canada, the vibe is very different in terms of, and I wasn't just in no touristy. Oh my, Charles Barkley, that's terrible. But I wasn't in like the touristy areas. I was like where the people be going, and even in those spaces, it wasn't filthy. It wasn't dirty. And I don't know what it is about being here in America that makes people just feel like the world's their garbage can or their toilet, like you said. It's really disappointing to see that, and I wonder what we can do to like elevate and change it. Is it education? Is it fining people thousands of dollars if they urinate on an alligator? Like, what is the solution? Because I can't think of none.
out here, they started finding people because during Mardi Gras, they started going like on people's lawns, and that was too much. And a lot of those parades, they don't take place in the touristy areas. They'll like pass through like all the other residential areas. So, people will just be kind of at their house sitting on their porch, and here comes this drunk man and now here he is on your lawn with his pants down. So they started enforcing that because it was really getting out of control. I don't think that you can really stop that because a lot of people just kind of have this mentality that, well, I don't have to clean it up, so it's not my problem. And I think we've just always had that, and we're always going to have that. You know, people are just entitled and disgusting, so they're just going to do what they want until they get in trouble for it. So that was our solution, even though it
Yeah.
doesn't totally stop them, but it's kind of helped.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like there has to be a sense of pride because I feel like where I'm from, I feel prideful being from New York, and like if I see things out of place, I'm not saying I'm gonna be like down in the dirt and I'm picking up stuff like I'm Captain Planet, but you know, if I see a little something somewhere, I pick it up and move it, throw it out, sweep it away, or whatever, because I want my block or wherever I'm at to look nice. I want it to feel nice, you know, where it's like a psychological thing. If you are in a room or a space full of junk and trash and disorderly, you know, mess, you're gonna feel like that, you know, versus
Hmm.
being in a place where it's neatly put together. And I'm not saying that like, you know, we have to be super pristine, but like walking down the street over here and after the storm, you got dog doo doo everywhere. And it's like you playing hopscotch trying to get from point A to point B. And it's like, what is going on? Like, why do you not care about the environment? Why do you just let your dog or yourself or anybody just do stuff like that? You know, and I think going back to the arts and going back to us, like, and I was just saying this on another episode that I recorded. We used to have a lot of TV shows and programming and cartoons specifically that were educational in the sense of environmental protection and taking care of your neighborhood and taking care of one another. And we don't really see a lot of that anymore because a lot of cartoons now, while they are good in terms of representation of us as black people and the diaspora of the queer community and so many other spaces, I feel like we're not seeing anything that is environmental forward, except for maybe common side effects.
Yeah, I don't think that that's everybody's top priority. I guess they feel that a lot of other issues are a little bit more important. So that tends to fall by the wayside. And I mean, I've always kind of seen that. You know, everybody's just kind of focused on trying to make it by. So they're not really thinking about, well, I shouldn't use plastic straws because that's bad for the environment. They just thinking like, bro, I'm just trying to get my drink. I'm not thinking about all that. I had a rough day or
To be
whatever.
fair, paper straws are terrible. I don't know if you ever used one before, especially for like a milkshake or something. It is not that they did not fortify that.
Um, yeah, well, I've had it and I had to throw it away promptly because it
It
deteriorated.
got soggy,
So
yeah, and you was drinking straw more than you was drinking your drink.
uh, it's
Yeah.
not fun.
So that's the only thing. It's like if we had some more artwork or something that was promoting that in a way where it wasn't like obvious or heavy handed or something like that. And I'm trying to figure out ways to do that too because I'm dipping into more socially conscious and politically minded things, especially with AI. We just had a really great, and you shared that with me earlier this week. We just had a really great bit of news where the Supreme Court just ruled that AI generated works are not eligible for copyright, which is great. Yes, clap it up. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's a great start to what we've been trying to campaign against for the last, what, 5 years now.
Yeah, I was excited to hear that. I kind of wasn't sure where that was going to go because it almost seemed like there wasn't any way to stop it. But I'm glad that there's some pushback to it, at least if it's just that. Because AI is, you know, we know it's not going anywhere. It's just kind of a part of life now. But if we kind of get to the point where maybe we can kind of head off some of these people trying to push like projects and things that they're trying to sell by saying, oh, well, this won't be copyright protected, then maybe that can minimize some of it and it can minimize some of the damage that it can be doing to some of these communities. And, you know, maybe it'll eventually push it to a point where it's not quite as popular. And like again, like I was saying, I don't think it's going to completely disappear, but maybe we can just at least get it to a point where it's not such a detriment to everyone around it by, you know, making it less important.
Yeah, really quick, I just realized this is why I need like assistance or something, because I just realized I had your name misspelled on the screen for this entire time. It was Morgant Basant. Morgan with a T. I just looked over. I was
Oh,
like, "Oh
oh
my
no.
god!" I'm blaming it on AI. I'm gonna blame it on AI. AI did that. They got into my Streamlabs and messed it up. But everybody know who your name is. I just fixed it though. So, but everybody know your name and they know how to get to you and reach you. But yeah, I think this is a great foothold in the long-standing battle that we have with AI or generative AI as a whole, and a road to possibly some regulation and possibly some legislation to prevent it from kind of permeating every single business and every single form of industry. I was just on an episode. I just finished recording an episode with Dre Under the Leaves, and she was telling me that in the plant world, in the world of like botany and herbalism, there are people who use AI to make fake photos or have descriptions of things that don't actually make any sense or actual fact. So it's everywhere. People are using it to just make a quick buck, or they're using it to self gratify, you know, and it's dangerous in every single form. Like imagine buying a plant and you get it from somebody that used AI to describe what this thing is, and you come home and you got like a poisonous such and such, and now your skin breaking out because you didn't know what the proper precautions and labels were, you know? So I definitely think on that level and across the board, even with the major thing that is happening, which is the data centers in the small towns. There was a victory recently, and I can't remember what town it was, but there was a victory recently somewhere, I think, in the Midwest, where they actually stopped the data center from being built in one of their locations. But what I've learned is that these data centers, a lot of the people that are buying the land, they don't actually know what a data center is. They're just buying, and they think it's real estate. So they're just buying up real estate for these things that may or may not be built, but they're just doing it because that's the new hot thing, and that's the crazy part. So you got people who are
Mhm.
are tycoons at the forefront of this new business venture and don't even know what the hell they doing.
That's ridiculous. Everything is just like a very random money grab, which is crazy. And we had the same thing happen. I think I mentioned it to you. They were planning on building a data center in a neighborhood that I actually grew up in, which is also a majority Black, majority Vietnamese neighborhood. So it's like nobody even knew it was going to happen. They just kind of tried to sneak and do it and just buy some real estate and be like, oh, we're going to put a data center here and it's going to create all these jobs and we're going to have all these opportunities. And it's like, we don't need that. Not there, not anywhere really, but especially like, what you're going to have some opportunities just to build the center. And then after that, now you don't have any jobs and everybody's just getting poisoned. What's the point? And like you said, I think that the person that was trying to establish it, I don't think he really knew anything about it either. I think he just was just like, oh well, we'll build one here. There's some space here, you know. This didn't get revitalized after the hurricane. Well, we'll just put a data center here. So it's crazy,
And I
and
think that's what.
especially
Go
for
ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just saying, especially for a neighborhood that had been kind of struggling to find its legs after the hurricane hit.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're relying on. They want people that are ignorant because that's how they can get things done faster or without any proper rules or regulation behind it, you know? And I'm working on a video now. I mean, I don't know if it'll be out by the time this episode goes out, but I'm working on a video that kind of goes into the weeds of what AI is, specifically just defining different types of AI, whether it's generative, whether it's an LLM versus assistive, and all these different uh, facets and variants, because we need to be aware. We need to be first of all educated, first and foremost, about the umbrella term itself, and then learn about the intricacies of what falls underneath that umbrella, because there's so many people, artists included, that will go online and start yelling. They'll start yelling about it, but they don't have any idea themselves. You have content creators that are doing the same thing, that are just saying one thing or the other and kind of have this very lackadaisical attitude towards it. And I feel like if you are a big platform, even a medium-sized platform, if you have a large following, period, and you don't know how to articulate yourself or have the acumen to understand what's going on, you're doing not only yourself but humanity, not to sound hyperbolic, humanity a disservice, because now you're just saying things out the side of your mouth and out the side of your ass, and people are just going along with what you say because you're the big person. And we're down here screaming, right? It's me and you. It's my friend Mary, who is on the ground, who went to Tennessee and was one of the people at the front lines protesting against the data center. It's folks that are going to town halls and yelling and screaming, that are trying their hardest to get people to understand and believe what's going on. And then you get online and you see a content creator go, like this, kind of being not goofy about it, but just so dismissive of it. And it's important that, what was that? Did you hear that?
Mm-mm.
I just heard something go do 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 do. I think they found me. See, I told you they in my machine. Something got into my machine. I just heard a little beep. I don't know if I'm gonna hear it in the recording, but I heard something go do 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 do.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
the
know.
AI bots are coming to get you.
Yeah, because they hear me speaking. They're trying to get me.
Oh no.
But no, I think we have to educate everybody in different levels, because the way our parents understand it or not is not going to be the same way a fellow artist is going to understand it. The way a politician understands it is not going to be the same way that your average layperson is going to understand it off the street. So we have to find ways to be able to discuss it for the people that we need to meet the people where they're at. Put it that way. There was a video I saw a while back, years ago. I think she did like a series of these where this lady would describe and explain like astrophysics to people of different age groups. So she did like 5-year-old kid, teenager, young adult, elder, and each one was related to how they could understand it. And it was amazing, and I still want to learn how to do that, because that's how we, even outside of AI, that's how we are able to educate people on just struggle, period. Educate people on liberation, period. Educate people on how to be present and fight back, so that they're not harmed when things may or may not happen to them or their loved ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that I kind of want to get a little bit more into myself. When generative AI started becoming more of a thing, I started trying to help the people around me learn how to recognize it, like how to see some of the telltale signs. And while some of that is changing a little bit and it's making it a little bit more difficult, there's always something that gives it away. So I'm still trying to
Not to the average
use
person.
my knowledge of it.
I've seen it now. I saw somebody literally looked at a video of someone that's like you and me and thought it was AI. So it's getting to a point where it's confusing people. It's gotten to that point
It still
already.
is. And I don't necessarily mean that there's things where you could just look at it and you can just know. Sometimes it takes digging a little bit deeper. And that's what I mean when I mean things have changed. Like you can't just look at the video and be like, oh, look, she has 18 fingers on one hand. It's not that easy anymore. Sometimes you have to dig a little deeper, do a little bit more research, just look a little closer, because it's becoming a little bit more realistic. Or really, it's becoming a lot more realistic, because some of those videos are looking very close. And like you're saying, a lot of people are struggling to kind of differentiate between reality and AI, to the point where now they're jumping down artists' throats online and accusing them of using AI, which I,
And we're getting into this witch
I
hunt territory that I do not like, because now they're saying the only way you can tell if somebody's using AI is if you ask them if they have, some concept art, or if you watch a process video. I'm like, not every artist is going to have that or want to do that, and that's not where we need to
mm-mm.
be. It's getting to a point now where I can understand if somebody gets aggravated if they're being accused of AI, because it's like that's where the education comes in, because now you have the witch hunts and they're only going off of something they might have seen in a video from like 2 years ago, and they're like, oh yeah, in that video that looked like that and yours looks like this, and it's like, no. And there are some people who are like, and the funny thing is like the people that are using AI are not being accused. So I've seen people on threads go to, like, I forgot who it was. It was somebody, I don't know the person personally, but I've seen their work before, and they're like, oh, so and so is using AI and da 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 da, and they had to go through this whole thing and show like their whole process, which is like aggravating because that don't really help nobody and do nothing, right? You're just wasting your time off of trolls. But then you got a whole nigga that is making, quote unquote, black anime, using straight up chat gpt whatever else thing, and it looks like it, and everybody's like, yeah man, this looks dope. I'm like, do y'all not see? Do y'all not understand? Do you not like? And it's obvious. It's not even like it's good enough to be unrecognizable. It's obvious. The fact that he's able to produce high quality clips every day, the frequency in which he's uploading, and then if you pay attention to like the lip syncing is not all together, and some of the characters are moving in weird ways. It's like so many different things that are just out in the forefront and nobody gives a shit. And it's like, what is going on? How do we get to this point where it's like the stuff that actually is human made is getting accused, but the stuff that's AI is just it's just like laissez faire, let it be. It's ridiculous.
I sometimes I think people just kind of like the confusion on top of that. So I think some people are not really going to really push for what's right. I think they just like to dogpile. They see one person saying like, "Oh, you did this in AI," so now they're jumping on and saying, "Oh yeah, I can see it," even though it isn't. And I had that happen to me personally. So on Threads, I had posted some old artwork, and I did it in like 2021. So it was before this whole AI boom even happened. But I just repost all my old stuff. One person came in the comments and was like, "Well, this is obviously AI.
Was it the
I don't
Inuyasha thing?
see."
Was it when you posting? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So then other people started jumping in the comments like, "Oh, your AI slot bores me," and then another person said that they fed it to this website that said that it was 100% AI, which is ridiculous. And it just got to the point where I'm like, y'all are not even trying to even like tell me like what's the problem here? What is making you think that this is AI? It's just like everybody was just jumping in to say AI because they saw one other person say it. And I thought that was really ridiculous, because not only did I produce this like way before this whole generative AI stuff started happening, but it's like, why would you think that I'm an AI artist if you can go back to my page and see I've been posting stuff for like a decade now? Like, it's ridiculous. And I think that that's even kind of one of the signs. Like, if you can go back to a page's history and see like they've been doing all kinds of illustration work way before this happened, I feel like that should kind of at least help to tell you that maybe this is a real person behind this account.
I think even still, I think it's too many things going on at one time. It's tricky because even with that, I feel like people have their home. I think once somebody has an idea in their head, it's just going to stay there, no matter if they're right or wrong. Like, it's going to stay there, and even going back to someone's profile or looking at behind the scenes stuff or seeing their sketches, like people are still going to feel the way they feel. And I think the most important thing is just education, because without the education, we have the witch hunts and you have the people who are slacktivists, because those folks that are pointing fingers at you and everybody else that's actually really creating and making work from their own hands and their brains, they're not, those people are not going to vote on policy. Those people are not talking to their policymakers. They're not trying to put any dog in the fight. They just want to yell and scream. That's majority of the internet. Because when you go outside, when you step outside these four walls, these screens, it's a different conversation. And people are actually talking about what they need to talk about, and they're actually making movement where there needs to be movement. You know, a lot of these people, even the person that said they fed it to a thing, it's like, what thing did you feed it to? Like, what are you talking about? Like, let's be for real.
Oh,
You know?
jeez.
So a lot of people are just on here bullshitting, and I think once we start putting, and it's up to us. I think part of it is up to us, even though we're tired of it and we're frustrated and we're annoyed. But I think when it comes to work like this, when it comes to social change and liberation and movement, what I've been learning from organizations like Black Men Build and others is that you do have to sacrifice a bit of yourself to make that change, right? And that could be in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you do have to be the artist that steps up and makes comics about it. Maybe you do have to be the one that makes short animations or videos or video essays about it. Maybe you do have to be the one that goes outside and puts up posters everywhere or flyers that talk about certain things. Maybe you do have to be the one that is at City Hall or Town Hall, you know? Because I remember, I talk about this guy a lot because I really admire his work. This white Canadian dude named Umami from YouTube, he started like a whole franchise off of YouTube, and he's huge and in the indie scene, the indie animation scene. And he actually had to go to like the Canadian legislator. Like he was on their national TV campaigning about how I think they were trying to cut off Canada from the American internet or something like that. And he actually went down and spoke. Not all them other people that complain online, not them people that's typing with their dirty Cheeto fingers, not the one that's trying to like accuse people of stuff. He went down, he put on his suit, and he went down, had his papers, has his documents, and he spoke clearly and professionally to these people so that they can understand the issue of keeping his livelihood alive, basically. Because if they were to disconnect Canada from the rest of the world or from American internet, he would have lost like a shit ton of revenue off of that, you know. And he wasn't the only one. There's like a couple of other YouTubers that went, but it's like that's what needs to be done, right? It's hitting the streets, it's going to the meetings, it's going to the town halls, it's putting out work that talks about it. And I think that's just something we have to do as a whole. And then on the micro level, even within our individual communities, whether it's you and I with the Black community, it's always about making sure that there's some form of information and education being put out. So that's just how I see it. Morgan, thank you again for always showing up and sharing your thoughts and your opinions and your brightness with us. I love seeing your artwork. I mean, this piece right here is already really fun to look at. And I have to make like a new album where I'm sharing all the pieces that have been made since I started doing this format. But if there's anything that you would like to share out or talk about, any new projects that are coming up or anything that you are trying to get promoted, even if it's something older, share it out right now, and also let people know where they can find you.
Well, I do want to share that I will be starting to put out some more Creole artwork. So please keep an eye out for that. I do want to share my culture. I do want people to know more about what life is like in Louisiana and, you know, who we are as a people. So y'all can follow me on Instagram at Morg City. I'm also on TikTok and YouTube under the same handle. So please just be sure to keep a lookout and keep an eye out for things that I'll have coming in the future.
Ooh, wait, you said YouTube. Are you gonna be doing some videos, some tutorials? What you about to be doing on YouTube?
Uh,
Oh,
There might be a little something coming.
Okay. Okay. Well, looking forward to all of that. And honestly, I mean, obviously, I'm always going to be here to support you as a friend of the show and a personal friend. So, looking forward to everything that you have coming within the next few months and the rest of the year. And as I said, thank you again for coming by the Art Block to chat once more and rant about all the things that drive us crazy. But folks, that's going to be it for us today. That's going to be it for the Art Block. So make sure you follow Morgan on all her socials, follow me on all my socials, support us where you can. And until next time, stay true, stay you. We out. Deuces.
Bye.